What's up, everybody? I'm Aslan Hajavandi, Director of Digital Media for Warchant.com, joined by our recruiting analyst, Michael Langston. If you are not a member of Warchant.com, go on over there and subscribe. Use the promo code Warchant30. If you're not a member of our YouTube page, subscribe to our community. Just hit the little button below, Michael. Also hit the thumbs up button. Again, this is how they keep track of things. It's crazy, I know. All right, Michael, it's a dead, quiet period, whatever you want to call it when it comes to college football recruiting, but you are still working the phones trying to figure out the next great prospect for Mike Norvell and the Florida State staff. Seems like that South Georgia area, man, southwestern Georgia, we talk about how important it is. Lots of good talent there, and maybe a defensive-minded guy they can go after.
Yeah, defensive end slash linebacker Thomas Davis. We talked about him some on the recruiting chat last night. FSU offered him, recently, I think the last week. Obviously, everyone knows the distance with Valdosta is not that far from Tallahassee, probably by an hour. Depends how fast you drive. But close to home, a lot of these Lowndes kids, really like Florida State. That's kind of, I've been to a lot of games there, 5 or 6 games, and it's a very pro-Seminole type of group over there. It's more Seminole or Georgia Bulldog, but there's a lot of kids that certainly have gone to FSU, like Telvin Smith, Greg Reed, lately Jalen Goss, and certainly they're hoping to keep that momentum going with Thomas Davis. Originally, I had actually thought that Miami was such a clear favorite. It was kind of a slam dunk, but had exclusive interview with Thomas Davis today. He doesn't really do a lot of interviews. Fortunately, I got that set up. Head coach Jamie DeBose helped set that up. This is a kid that played defensive end last year mostly, had 17 sacks. He's just, every time you watch this kid in person, he just explodes and kills his guys off the line of scrimmage. Certainly a guy that can, as you can see, just a monster hitter and very good pass rusher. FSU likes him at the Fox position, which is basically a mixture of outside linebacker, defensive end, more so defensive end though than outside linebacker. He's going to play actually inside linebacker this year because that's where they need him the most. So he's kind of learning that new transition, but he's most comfortable with defensive end. So that's certainly something that attract him with FSU and seeing what their past defensive ends have done, how they've done in the league, and certainly getting guys to the NFL. But this kid he's listed a 3-star, but when you watch this guy's film, it's not a 3-star film. So very impressive guy. And certainly things are getting a little interesting with him since that FSU offer.
What do you think has kind of turned his attention to Florida State, Michael? Is it the relationships with the staff? Is it the opportunity, the fit maybe that he sees himself with Adam Fuller's defense?
I think it's a combination of things. I think one, you kind of mentioned it, the position is very big. Defensive end, he's very comfortable with that. I think with Miami, more so they like him at outside linebacker. And with FSU, he can play that defensive end position, which he's comfortable with. He's really good at getting toward the quarterback, and that's what he loves doing. That's where he's played most of his career. The other thing is, I mentioned this guy in the outset, but he's very close friends with Jalen Goss, who's already at FSU. So that certainly is a positive as far as helping FSU. Jalen was one of the first guys he called, and he talked to him briefly about the offer. Obviously, Jalen was really excited. But I think that helps as far as getting your foot in the door, as far as connections. Miami was his dream school, but FSU is a school that he's really always liked a lot. Certainly, he's been there a few times as far as probably seeing games or stuff, but he hasn't really taken a full-fledged visit to FSU yet. And that's really the rub there with FSU is, how he's going to connect with a new staff. Because it's a brand new staff. He's obviously he's spending a lot of time with Coach JP, the defensive ends coach, but he hasn't met these guys in person. So he plans to do that. He was originally, or I shouldn't say originally, still planned to announce his decision on August 24th. But when I asked him today, he said, I don't know. So seems like that offer is kind of throwing things a little bit in the loop. And he's even said that it's muddled things, some because obviously Miami's never had competition in this recruitment until FSU offered. So certainly that offer, location, we see this with a lot of kids with the coronavirus. They want to play closer to home. That could impact him. We don't know. He didn't really, indicate that, but we've seen that with some recruits that, location's a big deal with some kids. So that's certainly helped FSU. I haven't heard enough that I'm going to take my forecast off Miami, for now. But if he doesn't make that decision on August 24th, I think the chances greatly go up for FSU, because whether he commits to Miami or not, he's still going to visit FSU. He's told me he's going to take visits regardless of if he decides or not.
Michael Langston breaking things down for Florida State when it comes to recruiting. Defensive-minded star out of Valdosta Lowndes High School, Thomas Davis. We'll see if maybe the forecast on him can change if that decision date doesn't come to fruition on the 24th of August. Michael, thanks for your time as always, man.
You got it.